Welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In this video we are going to take a close look at the family versus the Jamma Pandora's Box 10th edition. Which version should you pick up if you're interested in a product like this? Because there are some differences that you need to take consideration before you're going to pick up one of these products. Pandora's Box 10th game box comes in two versions. But when it comes to the two versions, there are two big and very huge differences that you need to know before you're even going to get one. I did full reviews, but I also do a quick overview of every single feature this thing has, because both of them will be the same when it comes to the emulation performance, but also when it comes to all the other stuff. The two versions you're going to have is the left one, the Jamma, and the right one, the Family Edition. So the Jamma version basically is a version that you can put in your arcade machine because simply of the connection it has. Take consideration, if you're going to hook it up, you always need to double check if every connection is like it should be, because sometimes it can be slightly different between Jamma connection and the pins. Then the Family Edition can be used basically in everything. Okay, if you're going to hook it up in an old school Jamma arcade, there are converters for EDA all the way to Jamma, but it is not convenient because you're missing out the voltage and everything is different. I'm going to discuss it today. Nevertheless, this is more like a universal device. I even noticed this in, let's say, bar tops in my reviews. So it's not particularly also use the Jamma in every single arcade from China. This is going to be the new Pandora's Box 10th edition, but it's going to be the Jamma. In this video, I'm just going to show you how the basics are for connecting this device. But for now, we're going to focus on the Jamma version. The Jamma version can be bought in different kind of versions, and I mean particular when it comes to a combination of a cable tree or something else. This is just the, let's say, the cable harness in combination with the Pandora's Box, because I needed both of them. But if you're already like having a Chinese arcade with a Pandora's Box Jamma, you can just basically hop swap it most of the time. Always double check if your voltages and also the input for the cables are exactly the same. Otherwise, for example, the cables you need to swap underneath the button, for example, because when you're looking at the Jamma, they are soldered and that is not easy to swap out. So everything will go through this. So what do I mean with this? When you're looking at it, here we're going to get at the left, we need to plug this in at this side. You can see the dividers, kind of bummer they don't use that in the socket over here. But what you're going to get is the voltage. We're going to get ourselves the mass, the 12 volt is the yellow, and the red one is the 5 volt, and I'm saying it correctly. Always double check your own arcade machine, but also your manual when you're connecting something like this. Always triple check, and even getting yourself a voltage meter would not be a very, let's say, crazy idea. I'm not going to connect everything, but I just want to give you an idea. So this is just for player 1 and 2 of your arcade machine, and that's what I love about Pandora's Box. You just plug it in and you're ready to go when it comes to the control part. But when it comes to the voltage, yeah, there we're going to get this. So Pandora's Box 10th edition, I can still remember having the Pandora game 3D. If I'm saying it correctly, and maybe also the older versions, had an input for inject 12 volt if you just want to use that. Nope, we're just going to get the volume wheel over here, LED indication, audio out, VGA out, HDMI out, and with the HDMI out, if you're going to boot it up and hold the button, you can change the resolutions for your typical monitor. Then over here we're going to get the Ethernet, but what I understand, the Wi-Fi capability and all the stuff for the internet doesn't even work. You cannot update this thing. And then we're going to get ourselves the two USBs, and yep, we can use controllers on this, and that's what we're going to use today. But that's the thing, we cannot give this thing an external 12 volt power adapter. We're going to need one of these. Yep, we're going to need, I think they are calling Jamma power supplies, correct me if I'm wrong. But I picked it up for on AliExpress, there was a cheap one. I would always say, like, in power supply, get yourself a decent one at least. But nevertheless, what you're going to get is the stuff that we're going to need. First of all, here you can see all in different row of different connections. At the right over here, we're going to have the well socket connections. And that is basically what you need to look out for. Always be very careful with this. Then over here over to the left, we're going to get the 2 grounds and 5 volts and 12 volts. And this tiny knob that we can change the voltage. I also say, like, double check it, get yourself a voltage meter. So if you're going to plug it in, before you're going to plug in, let's say, the power supply in your Jamma connection, you always need to double check that the voltage is just 5 volts and 12 volts and nothing too much. Otherwise, maybe you're going to fry your mainboard. And the Pandora's Box 10th edition. It has been out now for some time, but there are some things that we need to talk about, because we do have positive sides about it, but also negative sides. Connection wise, there is nothing much changed. Then we have over here the 12-volt input, then the HDMI out, VGA out, and take consideration the VGA if you want to use this thing in, like, say, an old school arcade machine with the weird, I think it was the 15 Hz monitors. This will not be supporting. You need a Jamma for that. Then we're having the audio out, volume control, the tiny button for settings that we're going to take a close look at later, and the two USB ports. And what I understand of, one of them can only be used for connectivity with a controller. Another thing you need to take consideration if you want to use this thing like in game system, you need to use only one controller, simply because the other one is not going to be recognized by the system. So that is quite unfortunate, so we still need to have a USB hub. But in the jungle of Pandora's boxes, when it comes to the controller port, there we're going to get absolutely a rabbit hole inside of the rabbit hole of Pandora's boxes. Because I do have a lot of weird controllers from China. These are like the cheap USB controllers you mostly find with Pandora's boxes. But when it comes to the support, I did notice it's going to be in hit or miss. But I'm just going to be honest, what we're having over here a PlayStation 3 controller from a different brand. From, I think this is called even Cyber Gadget, personally never heard of it. The best basically support is the Xbox 360 lineup or the X input. So basically we're having three controllers that seem to be working fine. The first one is the ByTop. This is a very difficult one in my opinion to find. They mostly sell this with Super Console X's, or you can just of course use them in your PC. They're very comfortable, have a PlayStation 4 look-alike grip when it comes to this. And it's kind of interesting, they have this on flat surface, but when you're looking at the comfortability when it comes to the D-pad and the ABXY, I really like this particular controller. I'm always such a big fan when it comes to the Xbox 360, and this one also works on previous models. I think it was a DX and a DX Special, so it does have a great compatibility. And the last one, it is more like a fun novelty if you like fighting games. So this particular version is more like a fight pad. It will have every single button that you're going to need, but as a big fan of fighting games, it's pretty damn cool, and it also seems to be working on this new latest Pandora's Box series. But let's say you are going to buy the one with a cable harness, and they're going to be completely different from each other, what I already shown you when doing the unboxing. So first of all, the connection is just different. This is just the old school cable you would find back in the day in your old PCs. Just going to plug it in here at the side, and that's it. For the power, you're going to get yourself a 12-volt adapter, where with this particular model I already shown you, you're going to get yourself the Jamma connection, where we're just going to do the same thing, connecting all of your cables. But when it comes to the 12-volt, you're going to get yourself, of course, a different power supply. So if you need to mess around with it, it's not going to be very convenient. So that's one of the things you need to take consideration when you're having the two versions. The Pandora's Box 10th box anniversary version comes with a lot of cool new extra features. So first of all, I really love the menu itself. They did a huge improvement here and everything looks so much better. Pressing start will give us a special menu like with the Pandora's Box 6, DX and Special, but now we have a new alphabetic order. And over here we can search very easily. So I think it's pretty damn cool. They're finally starting to listen. And here we can just very quickly go to the game list. Another thing is that when you're looking at the tiny icons at the left over here, we can even see what kind of game it is. Because pressing start again twice, it gives us the option to go into category. They even have 3 and 4 player options. So if you want to have multiple controllers, shooting, puzzle and all the other stuff that I've seen before. It also shows you at the left side very quickly. I don't find any delay in here, but the overall speed of the menu is very nicely. Search, just search for something. Also this works very fast. Alright, and there we go, and here we have the games. Still it's kind of weird that we have 3 versions, but this one has been put in the 3D section. Nothing to do with 3D. So it's still a little bit messy, but overall it's not bad at all. Let's talk about the settings menu over here. If you're going to remove the controller, we can see that we're having the setting. When pressing this, we're going into the special menu where we can set up all the other things. Here we're going to get the Wi-Fi config. In here we're going to implement the Wi-Fi configuration for Ethernet. Then we're going to get ourselves the button configuration. Button configuration is quite interesting. We do still have the EO testing, nothing special, but the console config is basically the custom mapping, and you know, like the naming is kind of weird and interesting at the same time. Then having gamepad configuration, it also shows the Microsoft Xbox 360 controller now. Was it not with the previous model? I didn't have this option at all. I must say that I do have some problems when it comes to the menu and going back. Come on, thank you. We have the option to light gun EO testing and the light gun crosshair settings. We're going to take a close look at that later. System configuration. Yeah, so auto exit will be done. If you're having, let's say in demo mode, it goes back after 3 minutes. HD quality is going to be set up. I will also going to be having the scan lights off. And also later on I will show you what are the differences between these options. Game configuration, difficulty and live config. We can even like edit the favorite list and the game list if you want to remove a couple of them. But this is where you can do built-in speaker. It's only if you're going to implement this thing in a 2-player arcade stick, or you're going to build this in an arcade one up and you're going to plug in the speaker straight into the Pandora's box. Language was English, Spanish and an Asian language. That's it. And that's the only thing that we can change out when it comes to the settings menu. So when it comes to the game support, it's more of the same that we have seen many times before. I think Atomic Wave is one of those systems that they implemented. What I do like that we have Atari 2600 and 7800. Lynx is over here. I think Atari Lynx was not on the previous models. Can be wrong. Sometimes I'm just being honest, I cannot keep up anymore with these things. When you're going to look into the performance of the Jamma or the family, it doesn't really matter. Both are the first editions and the performance are exactly the same when it comes to the overall gaming performance. Up the way to PlayStation 1 we didn't have any issues whatsoever. But getting into Dreamcast, you can find an installer here and there. But the overall performance in general is not bad at all, and there are absolutely thousands of supported games they can actually play with both of the boxes. So in this case, it's just a matter of what kind of form factor you're having. The overall performance is exactly the same. The conclusion is very simple. If you're having an old school arcade with the Jamma, you can plug it in, or maybe in Chinese or machine with already Pandora's box, this is so much more convenient. Most of the times you can just swap it out, maybe with some button adjustment when it comes to the input, but that's it. And this is going to be the one you should get. But if you don't have all the mumbo jumbo and you just have like yourself a 2-player arcade stick, or you just want to start modding, this thing is very convenient. Because just, in my opinion, that's just a fact. Let me know in the comments if this video has helped out. Thank you for watching, and it would be great to see you in the next video.